We know that if we're in 2/4 time, each measure gets 2 beats. If we're in 3/4 time, each measure gets 3 beats. And if we're in 4/4 time, each measure gets 4 beats. But every once in a while, we encounter a situation where we don't need all the beats that we find in a measure. And this happens most often at the beginning of a piece of music. Let me show you an example of this. Here I've written out a short rhythmic example in 3/4 time. So we're in 3/4 time, which means every measure should have 3 beats. And let's investigate to make sure that's the case. So on beat 1 of the first measure, we have a quarter note. Beat 2, a quarter rest. Beat 2, we also have a quarter rest. Beat 3, we have a quarter note. Beat 1 and beat 2 of the next measure, we have a half note. Beat 3, we have a quarter note. And then on each of the 3 beats of the third measure, we have 1 quarter note. 3 quarter notes in a row. So if I were to perform this with my metronome, here's what it would sound like. Ta, 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 ta. Pretty simple. But notice at the beginning of the very first measure, there's a little bit of wasted space. We don't actually hear, even though we think about these 2 beats at the beginning, we don't actually hear them. So very often what we'll do at the beginning of a piece is we'll lop off extra rests. We'll just get rid of them. And we'll start the measure right on the beat where we're actually making sound. So in this case, we would get rid of beats 1 and 2, and we'd just start on beat 3. And if I do this, and let me actually write this out for you, it's going to look something like this. I'm going to get rid of those 2 rests. Just to make this neater, I'm going to move the clef and the time signature over. So let me rewrite the clef and then the time signature right here. So now look at this. We have at the beginning of the piece, we have a measure that only has 1 beat. And that's simply because it's not really the measure has 1 beat. It's just that we're sort of not bothering to write those first 2 quarter note rests. We just imagine that they're there, but we don't actually write them out because somebody listening is not going to hear them. And this we call a pickup measure, a pickup measure. And pickup measures can happen in 3/4 time, and 2/4 time, and 4/4 time, really in any time signature. But they're just a useful little shortcut that you'll run into every so often.